Thank you, and it's a pleasure and honor to the mayor and to the members of the city council and to the citizens here, the village of North Palm Beach. It is really special to be here with you. And I also want to send a little shout out to my assigned stalker from the Florida Democrat Party who follows me around to make sure that if I do say something that can't be caught on tape, he sends it into his masters up there in Tallahassee. And I also want to tell you something about the organization that this gentleman represents. This is the exact same organization that, in concert with my opponent, took my Social Security number, took my wife's federal employment identification number, and put it in an attack piece and mailed it out to tens of thousands of homes here in South Florida. This is how ugly politics has gotten in the United States of America, where it's not about the issues that are prevalent for you, for your life, your liberty, and your pursuit of happiness, but it really has become a sense of character assassination and also destruction of the family. And so as I stand here today, people will probably say, well, then why do you want to do this? Why would you want to put yourself out there to run for politics in the United States of America with such a negative atmosphere? Well, it's very simple. Because I believe in this symbol that stands right here to my right, to your left, the United States flag. And that was something that was instilled in me from a father who served in World War II, at a time when, as a black man, you were restricted in what you could do, but still, he believed that it was the right place for him to go and serve his country. And he did so in North Africa, transitioned over to Italy, and he was wounded in the Po Valley. I believe in it because I had a mother that served 25 years civilian service with the United States Marine Corps 6th Marine District Headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. And my parents were probably still alive. They tell me I need a haircut, probably, without a doubt. But she and my father explained to me that there's no greater honor than to serve this great nation and to serve the American people in uniform. And so my older brother preceded me by serving as a Marine in the Vietnam War, and he was wounded at Quezon. And so when it came my time, I raised my right hand and I took that oath of office on the 31st of July, 1982, to support and defend that Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and bear true faith and allegiance to the same. 22 years later, I retired down here, 1 August of 2004, with my wife and my 2 kids, Aubrey and Austin, my 2 daughters. 13 different countries, 3 different combat zones, all because I believe in that oath that I took, and in this great symbol, the symbol of who we are. And so the thing is, why do you want to do it? Because as I pass that legacy on to my young nephew, who is now following my footsteps, as a paratrooper, as a captain, in the Army, already with 2 tours in Afghanistan under his belt. I told him that there comes a time when you take the boots and the fatigues off, but you put on a suit and tie, and you continue to serve the American people, regardless of the obstacles, regardless of the things that people will say about you. You must stand. And I stand because I believe that right now, this time in America is the most critical and decisive moment for the future and the legacy of this constitutional republic. This constitutional republic that was founded, established for us, that was based on 2 very important premises: the rule of law and individual rights and freedoms. Based upon your freedom of will, your freedom of conscience. It's based upon an understanding that America is about equal opportunity, so that a young man born in 1961 in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, can achieve the greatness of commanding an Army battalion in combat and then stand before you here to run for United States Congress. But if we're not careful, that American ideal can be taken away because we face a different type of perspective, a different type of ideology that would seek to make more Americans victims and make more Americans dependent upon an entity that sits up in Washington, D.C. called government. And that's not the American dream. That's not the American way. That's not the way that built this nation to what it is. And I think the 2 most prevalent things that we need to have people in Washington, D.C. is to protect your economic security and your fiscal security and physical security. Because right now, we are facing a time where I never would have thought that we would be talking about class warfare in the United States of America. It is not about taxing rich. It's about punishing people who are producers, punishing people who are employers, punishing people who enable other people, like myself, thrown in the inner city, to have the opportunity to achieve greatness. And if we sniff that out, if we don't allow these tax cuts to go on, Our small businesses that operate at a personal income tax level will be affected. Next thing you know, they're going to have 4 to 5% increase. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, how are we going to grow our economy and grow the employment opportunities here in South Florida, where South Florida has 13% unemployment, 14.4% in Miami-Dade County, 10.7% in Broward, 12.3% unemployment in Palm Beach County. Foreclosure rates that are skyrocketing. If we continue to believe that higher taxes, printing more money, and borrowing more money is the way that we will come out of this economic recession, we would just push ourselves deeper into it. And you can go back and study economic trends in this country. Any time that the marginal tax rate was brought down to a lower point, the percentage of revenues for GDP increased. But it's not just about those tax cuts. What happens in January of 2011 if you wake up and find that your capital gains tax has increased, your dividends tax have increased, the estate taxes come back at 55%, and if they make it retroactive, then that'll affect you now in this year. The marriage tax credit will go away. Child tax credit gets cut in half. The alternative minimum tax population goes from 4 million to 28 million. What happens to you when you wake up and realize that 70 to 75% of your earnings are going out the door? We will not have long-term sustainable economic growth in the United States of America. What happens if we continue along the path where 47% of Americans are not paying federal income taxes, but yet they can be manipulated by our government to vote for their own free entitlements? We are getting to the point where, as Margaret Thatcher once said, socialism works very well until you run out of other people's money. And that's a very dangerous thing. I believe that the progressive tax system that we have lends itself to class warfare. I think we need to reform our tax code. I think when you look at our corporate business tax rate, that is the second highest in the world at 33 to 35%, it needs to be cut in half and flattened out to 16%. We've got to bring jobs back to the United States of America. We have got to get back to the point where we are producing and manufacturing again in the United States of America so that we can get Americans off the unemployment rolls. I do not believe, as the speaker said, that unemployment checks are the means by which you can stimulate an economy and create jobs. I think that is the antithesis to who we are as American people. But the other side of that is this. We can help you to be as prosperous as you want. We can set the conditions for that. But if we don't keep you safe, then what does it mean? Not too long ago, 10 years as a matter of fact, 5 to 6 gentlemen lived down in Broward County. They took their flight training in Opelika. They bought tickets at a travel agency in Lauderdale by the Sea. And the rest is history as to what happened on 9/11. But 3 months ago, we found out that the number 2 for international operations for Al-Qaeda lived in Miramar, Florida, and attended a mosque in Pembroke Pines. We are still not learning the lessons of how do we properly secure the American people. The number 1 language that's being learned by Islamic terrorists right now is Spanish. Al-Qaeda and Hezbollah are working with the Mexican drug cartels to funnel in Islamic fighters across our border. If you go to the Border Patrol website, it's called OTMs, other than Mexicans. We have to get people that have been on the opposing end of an AK-47 and an RPG to understand the right strategy so that we can win overseas. It's not about nation building. It's not about occupation-style warfare. I seek to do one simple thing: to protect your wallet and to protect your life. I seek to go to Washington, D.C. to continue to honor the commitment of 31 July 1982. I seek to go to do one simple thing: to protect your life, your liberty, and if you study the old English writers of Hobbes and Locke, they called it property, which is the means by which you have your pursuit of happiness. No matter what is said of me on television, no matter of the sideshow antics that comes out of the Florida Democratic Party, I will not falter, I will not waver in this pursuit to continue to serve you, the people of Congressional District 22. God bless you all and thank you.